Welcome to Reckless Paradise, everyone. I am your host, Marissa, and I'm here with my co-host, Dystro. Say hi.
Hello, everyone.
Happy Sunday, everyone. And as you guys can tell, I'm a little tired tonight. We have been getting hit with storms once again, pretty badly. Yesterday, we lost power for about 4 hours up here.
Yeah.
And then the power came back on, and it was storming again at like midnight, so I was up pretty much the whole night because I hate storms.
Yeah, I feel you on that. So,
But nonetheless, I hope everybody else had a really good weekend. I just wish the weather was better, but you know, shit happens. Life goes on.
yep.
Anywho, let's get into tonight's episode. So tonight we are doing our personal top 10 favorite TNA pro wrestlers. Now, TNA is a company that I've grown up watching since I was a kid. I've been to 3 house shows throughout my lifetime, and let me tell you, a house show is fun. Honestly, it's too bad they don't really bring them up here, like close to where I live anymore. It's been a long time since they've brought a house show to where I used to go, which is about an hour away from here.
Hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, we're just basically gonna be discussing our top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time from that company. Now, this is past and present. Um, Disclaimer: I stopped watching TNA after like 2013, so it's gonna be wrestlers between like '07 and like 2013, because that was like the time period I'd watch them. I don't watch TNA anymore. It's also known as Impact nowadays. If you guys aren't familiar with what I'm talking about, it's also known as Impact. I don't watch it anymore, so none of the current wrestlers will be on there. These are probably gonna be like the past wrestlers for my list. I don't know what you did, Dystro.
Um, I kind of did like past per se because some of the current people, it's like, yeah, they're awesome to watch, but it's like it doesn't beat the past. It doesn't beat like past like 05, 06, and 07 TNA. It doesn't.
Right, I get you. So, as we usually do with our list of episodes, we're just gonna start rattling off our list from 10 to 1, and then we will discuss and stuff like that at the end. Does that sound good, Dystro?
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna let you go first, if you don't mind.
I always gotta go first. Damn it. I always have to go first. God,
God damn.
God, damn. Uh, I hate this. No, I was kidding. I hate this
Quits.
channel. um, it just hangs up. All right. So, disclaimer: I had to change 2 picks on my list because I had forgotten about these two, and I will get to them when I get to them. So, number 10 is uh Bobby Lashley. Number 9 is Lethal Consequences. Now, yes, I know this is a tag team, but it counts as one pick
Mm-hmm.
because it's two individuals, but it's just, it's a tag team and stuff like that. And I had asked Marissa, so she said it was okay with it. So don't come at me in the comments, okay? Number 8 was Shark Boy. Number 7 was Bully Ray. Number 6 was a multiple time knockout champion, Gail Kim. Number 5 was LAX. Now I'm gonna say the Homicide and Hernandez version
Mm-hmm.
for this one, because I know them a lot more. Number 4 is another multiple time knockout champion, Awesome Kong. Number 3 is AJ Styles, of course, obviously. Number 2 is Joe, obviously. And number 1 is Kurt fucking Angle.
Solid list. Cough clap, cough clap.
Go clap, go clap.
Solid list, pretty solid list. I didn't put any females on mine actually. I kind of feel a little bad, but it's all good. So I
It's.
guess, I
I was
guess
gonna
like,
say.
yeah.
I was gonna say because it's just because I when you were saying when you were telling me about the previous like pay-per-views that you were watching, like Bound for Glory '07, for example, it reminded me of the Gail Kim Asa Kong rivalry that they had for
Yeah.
like the multiple years that they were like facing and stuff. And they always had good chemistry. They always did. So I had to put them on the list.
Hey, it's a pretty solid list, so I'll give it to you there. All
Thank you.
right, I've had to change my list once. I forgot to add in somebody or people. I guess it's a tag team, but all right. So number 10, I put Crimson. Number 9, I put the Monster Abyss. Number 8, I put Jeff Hardy. Number 7, I put Kurt Angle. Number 6, I put the Motor City Machine Guns. Number 5, I put the Blueprint Matt Morgan. Number 4, I put Mick Foley. Number 3, I put the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels. Number 2, I put Samoa Joe. And number 1, I put the phenomenal AJ Styles.
Okay. I kind of knew that you had Blueprint and Crimson on your list only because that you love them both.
I love the big guys. It's like Wardlow, like an AEW. I love the big guys.
It's funny too because like we have Joe as number two.
Yeah, I was like my top three. I was like a toss up. I didn't know who to put for number one, but then I remembered who did I was like trying to ask myself who did I like the most as a kid, and I was like AJ Styles, hands down. I loved AJ Styles as a kid. I still do, even though he's in WWE. I still love him to this day. Um, but yeah, my dad doesn't like Samoa Joe, which I kind of find a little strange. But I like Samoa Joe. He's like one of those powerhouses that you can't underestimate. You know.
And he's a good talker too.
Oh my god, he's good on the mic.
He's it's like him and John Moxley had a promo battle. We don't know who would win that because
Yeah, pretty
it's like
much.
you don't know who to like pick sides on. So I do have some honorable mentions though. Okay, so when I first did my list, I had put Fallen Angel on there, but I had thought about, I was like, okay, well, I didn't really remember Daniels around that time. Um, Only because like I didn't watch it growing up like you did. But um he has made a impact on the X division and like the tag team division
Oh, most
by
certainly.
himself. But like honorable mentions aside, I put Motor City Machine Guns, which I mean that's the
Hmm.
pinnacle of tag team wrestling right there. Sting, Eric Young, Beer Money Incorporated,
Fuck.
and and I did put Austin Aries, but this was like way before he became
A
a
douche.
dick.
Yeah.
So like him and Bobby Roode like was like the dirty heels and stuff like that. And it's like there was so many good tag teams around that time. But it's like nothing is more memorable than Motor City Machine Guns and the Beer Money Best of Five series.
Oh yeah. What was I gonna say? I'm sorry, folks. I am like super tired. Um. Yeah, I literally forgot to put Beer Money on my list. I'd probably have to go on to my honorable mentions. I had Sting on my list. I swapped him out for the Motor City Machine Guns because I remember the Motor City Machine Guns a lot more.
Mhm.
Trying to think. Oh, frick, Scott Steiner. You
Big
gotta
Papa
freaking
Pump!
gotta put him on my honorable mentions. Like, oh my god, his freaking incredible promo that he cut.
You take a 33% chance. No, I was kidding. I'm not gonna do the whole promo. I would have to like look at it verbatim. But
Oh god, I've kind
funny
of
that
memorized it a little bit.
yeah, funny that you had mentioned Steiner. I actually when I first did my first draft, I put the Steiners down as honorable mention.
And another honorable
Um,
mention I probably should have mentioned here is Christian Cage. Instant classic right there.
oh yeah, that's a good one.
He had a really good TNA championship run. With,
And
he had Tom Co at his side.
oh
So,
yes, the it was like they had that. they always keep bringing it up to like, yeah, he hasn't been pinned or submitted in like 2 years. I'm like, really? Huh. That's funny because it's like he got his ass beat by Samoa Joe like last week, and it's like, oh yeah, you think they didn't talk about that?
Oh yeah, I just watched that match. I think if it's the one that we're talking about. Samoa Joe defeated Christian Cage for the title at Bound for Glory '07. Oh,
Oh yeah, yeah,
there
yeah,
we
yeah,
go.
yeah. Yeah, because like the main event was um
It
Angle versus
was
Sting,
yeah, Sting versus Angle, and Sting came out victorious.
which I mean, okay, but it's just like I think this is like when this was like Perk Angle.
Perk
Like,
Angle.
yeah, he was Perk Angle. Like he was like I remember No Surrender, I believe, where he wrestled like 3 matches in one night. He
God
did
damn.
he did the tag team. God damn. He did the he tagged with Sting, and oh, this was when I think Joe and Angle had the tag belts, the world heavyweight belt and the X Division belt, and Joe and Angle had the tag belts together. So he had picked a hand-picked like person, and he picked Sting to do the tag titles with, and he fought Killings and that football player that didn't do like any moves at all, I believe.
Oh Lord.
And then well, they lost that match because Sting accidentally, because of the camera, like he like looked like he hit Karen Angle, and like Kurt was like focused on her and stuff like that, and Ron like got the pin over Sting, which was like, hey, that's a pretty big like golf clap, golf clap. And then um Kurt had wrestled Jay Lethal that night too for the X Division title.
Oh damn. Jeez, he had a busy night.
And then in the main event, he wrestled Abyss for the world title.
Oh, that ought to put you to sleep.
And I'm like, holy shit.
Man, that
But
ought to freaking put you to sleep for 3 years.
but the funny thing was the Abyss versus Kurt Angle match was not that bad of a match. It wasn't
Right.
bad.
What I meant
Like
was
this
like Kurt Angle's probably gonna be asleep for years after that night.
he's just like, you know what? I lost 2 belts. I'm gonna keep the third one. Yeah.
Jeez. You might be wondering why I put Mick Foley on my list as number 4. I actually personally liked Mick Foley's TNA run, even though it was a little messy, because he was getting up there in age. His body was starting to kind of wear down a little bit. They didn't really do too much with him, but I did like his run, and it was really memorable for me since I was a kid and I was watching this stuff. And I used to hate Mick Foley. Like I used to be scared of Mick Foley as a kid back in his WWE days. I used to be scared of him, but now like I absolutely love him. But yeah, I Mick Foley is just one of my favorites of all time. Period. Regardless of what company he works for, he's just like not only is he a good person inside the ring, but outside the ring, he was really down to earth. He cares about kids. He's a family man. He's just an like all in all amazing person inside and outside the ring. He's genuine. But yeah, I do remember his feud with the Monster Abyss. I believe he had a feud with him. I've watched a couple matches with him in it.
Wasn't that the feud with like Dr. Stevie?
Dr. Stevie, yeah, now I
Uh,
remember.
yeah, I remember that because he like Dr. Stevie looked like a dentist. He kind of looked like a dentist, and I'm like, what? But it was like I remember like his run too because it's like he had that lockdown match with Sting, and then he had that world title run, which was like I mean it was okay, but it was just like I think they just couldn't figure out like who to put the belt on at that point
Right.
or something, I guess. I don't really know. It was just a weird time period at that time.
It was really. Now, let's skip to my number 1. Wait, what number was your AJ Styles at?
3.
Oh wow, you put him at 3. I put him at 1. Like I said, he is like one of those people I remember since day one when I was a kid when I started watching TNA. I freaking fell in love with him.
I
he
mean,
look he had such a baby face like back then. Now look at him, he's kind of grown up. Like you know,
he's got the soccer mom haircut.
soccer mom. But he's always been one of those like timeless people. Like he's always good at what he does. Even if he's a heel, like he's good. He plays a good heel for WWE. I remember the whole freaking storyline between him and now John Moxley. But yeah, I'm not gonna get into the WWE stuff because this is TNA. AJ Styles. What do you think of AJ Styles? What is one feud you think of right off the bat when it comes to TNA?
AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels.
Oh hell yeah! I was gonna say the same thing, but I wanted to see what you were gonna say first because like
It's just because at that point when it was Daniels and Styles and Joe for the X Division, everything was like they put the X Division on the map
they
for
really did.
TNA. It's just because Joe was a freaking badass. He knew how to promo, and plus he still promos to this day. Daniels was a good heel, and he was a good technician when he wanted to be.
And AJ
Um,
was a high flyer, wasn't he?
and yeah, AJ was like kind of like a high flyer, but then he also did some technical stuff too.
It's like the perfect recipe for an X division. You know, it's
Yeah,
like that's like the perfect example for an X division circuit or whatever you want to call it.
and like you had Amazing Red, you had Jack I think Jack Evans at that point sometime too. You had Roddy coming in, and you had Alex Shelley, you had Chris Sabin, you had Kid Cash, you had all these X Division guys that you can do stuff with. But it's
Yeah.
like they focused on those main three.
Yep.
And then like, look where they're at now. Like, AJ's still on the top of his game in WWE. Joe's in AEW, beating people up.
Christopher
And
Daniels is kind of retired right now.
yeah, he's like talent relations for AEW, I believe.
Yeah,
I,
he
I
has a
believe.
really serious like hemorrhage in his eye.
Yeah. So like, but it's like back then it's just like I remember I remember Styles and Daniels from like the first ROH show.
Oh jeez.
And this was when Christopher Daniels had hair before he went bald. Like he had hair, and he had the fallen angel like gimmick still back then.
I love that gimmick so much. Like I'm not even gonna lie, the eyeliner is kind of what seals it all.
Yeah. Behold.
Now, did you put Matt Morgan on your list? I don't think you did.
No, I didn't.
Damn, that's a shame. Freaking 7-foot giant.
The
The
okay,
blueprint.
the only reason why I didn't put him on there is just because I did not I wasn't a huge fan of his per se, but the only thing was I remember him and Abyss tagging together, and that was a good tag team for a short while. But then it was just like, okay, well, what are we gonna do with these two behemoths of men? And I mean, you could have done like so much with them. I
Honestly,
mean,
yeah.
Abyss was the company guy from like off the rip too.
Yeah.
Like he was main event, and then you had like Matt Morgan and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, that's cool, but it's like, what else can you do with them? you know?
That's like Matt Morgan and Crimson when they became a tag team for a short while. They were a good tag team. They actually worked together pretty well until Crimson turned his back on him. But
It's funny because it's like whenever Matt Morgan teams up with another person or something like that, it's either him turning on them or his partner turning on Matt Morgan. It's either one of
yeah.
those.
Man, the problem is they could have done so much with him and Crimson, like even as singles competitors. They could have done so much with both those guys. Now, I put Crimson as 10 because I only watched him for a short period of time from like 2011 to 2012, or wait, no, he debuted in 2010, I believe. It was from like 2010 to 2012 because that's the period of time he was there. I remember his undefeated streak. I remember his feud with Morgan after they had split. His didn't he freaking have to wrestle Jeff Jarrett when he debuted?
I think so.
Because he used it was Amazing Red's baby brother. They
Yeah, oh
call it
my God.
the irony. It's the irony in
I'm like,
that.
"Yeah, that's not his big brother, that's his big brother,
That's a
man.
big bro.
That's his big brother,
He's 6 foot
not baby
six.
brother."
Oh my god.
Like, holy shit.
I like how they did that though. They the well play on the irony there. It's like hilarious.
Yeah.
But they could have done so much with Matt Morgan and Crimson as singles competitors. Crimson had everything to be a world title, like world champion, excuse me. He had
And
everything. He had the persona. He had, I think he had decent mic skills. Like you can always work on that, like as time
mm,
goes on. He had
mm,
the wrestling skills, obviously.
mm,
Like he just had it all. He had the charisma. He had everything for a world title shot, like for world title material. And
it,
that's like the sad thing. Like TNA didn't give him a chance to really show his potential. And the same goes for Matt Morgan, in my opinion.
yeah, that's what I
Um,
was gonna say too.
yeah, like they really could have done so much with these big guys. And that's what sucks, It's like the one thing I kind of shun TNA for is like not giving these bigger guys a shot. Um, did Abyss
Uh,
ever hold the title at all?
he did, but then they did some like bullshit, um, like DQ, like finish sort of thing. So basically, I think it was a triple threat between Sting, Kurt Angle, and Abyss. And Sting was the world champ at the time. I think this was at, oh God, I think either No Surrender or Genesis, I
Yeah, I'm
believe.
looking it up right now and it says Genesis '06. It says controversial world championship. Wait, well, this is the win. Oh, wait, I'm lost.
Okay, so I think it was, yeah, it was Genesis because Sting was the world champ at the time. And it was either Sting or Abyss or Kurt Angle. I can't remember who. But there was like some controversy where it was just like Abyss had won, but it was like off of a DQ or something like that.
Yeah, I
It was
just found the
just
match. It's from '06. It was for the NWA World Championship title.
mhm.
And Sting is in this. Why is Abyss hanging upside down?
Shit, I don't know.
He's literally hanging upside down. What the hell?
He said, "Hey, hey, hey, give me down."
So I guess
Um,
he did hold it. Is that what you're saying? He did have the title at one point.
he held the belt for like a short while, but I think it was like a month later, and then he lost it.
It's like give these guys like a chance, Like I don't know. Hashtag justice for the big guys. I don't know.
Hey,
Like
it,
I hope
it's
they
like
don't. It's like AEW. I hope they don't screw Wardlow over, like they did with the TNT title shot already. Like,
I mean, it's like what they did with
had
Brody before he
passed.
had passed. Like he went after John Moxley, plain and simple. He had one goal, wanted to get that world title. And it's like, yes, he lost, but he came out like a huge badass coming out of it.
Oh, he
And
did.
plus, I think I saw, or I was, as I think you saw this too, that Darby wanted to face Brody before he had passed,
Yes, I did see
and
that.
and that would have been killer.
It would have really.
And it's like Darby would have just been flinging around, like just whoop, hi, bye, just like he would have died. He would have died, and but it's like we will never get to see that,
I
and
know, and
that's
that's what
sad.
sucks.
Um, but it's like, yeah, like you had Abyss, you had Matt Morgan, you had Crimson, you have like all these big, huge dudes, but it's like you just never fucking do anything with them. And it's like,
Wait,
then why are they there? It's like, why are they there?
I know. It's like it kind of makes me worried about Wardlow because like Wardlow is literally one of my favorites right now. Honest to God, I just bought his shirt like what almost a month ago.
Yeah, like
He's been one of my favorites since since I started watching when he was MJF's little security guard, I guess we'll call him. His little bitch, according to MJF. But anyways, yeah,
shit.
he is one of my favorites of all time in AEW right now. It just makes me worry. Like I feel like these big guys don't get enough attention that they should. They don't get pushed enough. They need to get pushed because what's gonna happen is these big guys who want to go into pro wrestling are gonna get disinterested.
Mhm. And it's funny that you say something like about that because it was like it's gonna bring back some old memories of like old WCW and WWF days, where it was like when Big Show had come into the company, like
Oh yeah.
like off the rip from like when he got his contract had expired from WCW and he came in at St. Valentine's Day Massacre in '99, I believe, and like as soon as he came up from the ring and he threw Steve Austin through the cage and stuff like that, and the cage door swing open. It was just like, okay, well, I think you could have saved that till after the match, not during the match, because it's like okay, so,
Right.
but it's just like they just they just don't. It, it's just frustrating.
It is. But let's continue. So I have one wrestler that I'd like to talk about on my list. As usual, I never get to all the wrestlers on my fucking list, but it's okay.
It's, uh,
Let's switch to the tag team division. I have one tag team on my list, which is number 7, the Motor City Machine Guns. Now, this freaking tag team. Oh my god, I've loved this tag team since the first time I laid my eyes on them. They're just freaking electric. Like they work really well together. They have perfect chemistry. Aren't they still wrestling?
um,
I could
I
have sworn I
th
saw an Impact commercial recently this Thursday on Impact, and
I
the Motor
think
City Machine Guns were on, and I'm like, what? They still wrestle?
I think they still do. I know Chris Sabin does, but I don't know about Shelley.
I saw Alex Shelley on the commercial. I'm like, oh my god,
Okay, yeah,
childhood memories.
because I think they still do because I remember I think last year during the pandemic, like they wrestled the Rascals at Slammiversary last year,
Oh
and
jeez.
it was super awesome too. Like, and they faced the North, which was like Josh Alexander and Ethan Page, for the tag titles. Like I think like less than 2 weeks later, and they won them. So like they're multi-time like TNA and Impact like World Tag Team Champs.
Like I feel like all the like most of the matches I've seen with the Motor City Machine Guns, they're always facing beer money.
Yeah, which that
Like
was
all these
the
old matches that I see, because like I said, every weekend or not every weekend, every week on Thursday, an old Impact pay per view records on my TV because Access TV shows like one old pay per view a week, and
mm,
literally almost every single time the Motor City Machine Guns are on it, they're always facing beer money. And I'm like, really?
mhm.
Every time?
Yeah, it was the best of five series that they had, which
Oh.
was killer, by the way.
Well, like even if it wasn't like just like a two like a one tag team against another, sometimes it was a triple threat. Like sometimes it had 3 tag teams, and Beer Money some magical way was involved in this, and I'm like, oh okay.
Yeah, it's like they were either oh God, it's gonna bring me back. Oh, there was a Bound for Glory, I think in '09, I believe, where it was LAX, Team 3D, Beer Money, and God, what's the other tag team? Oh, Matt Morgan and Abyss.
Oh Jesus.
It was a fatal four-way Monsters Ball for the tag
Oh
team
my
titles.
god, that sounds badass. I'm gonna have to find that. I hope it's gonna tape
It
sometime.
it, it was I saw it on YouTube. It's on YouTube. I know that.
Okay. Then there
Um,
was this other tag team match I watched recently. I don't remember which pay per view it was. It was a triple threat, I believe.
was
It
it
was Beer
was it
Money versus uh Motor City Machine Guns versus the uh, it's Magnus and Petey Williams.
Oh, that's a British Invasion.
Yeah, it was like a triple threat or something like that.
I never liked British Invasion.
I
I
liked
never liked it.
Magnus. I've always
Yeah,
liked
Magnus.
Magnus,
Magnus
but
was good. He was good.
I remember when Magnus used to team with Samoa Joe as well.
Yeah, that was. Oh, that was weird too. Like,
But they worked together well.
yeah, it was just like I
Like
think it
it
was just like
actually worked.
I think it was like a friendly like rivalry thing sort of thing. But it's like now we know Magnus is Nick Aldis, the national treasure and all that stuff like that. And I didn't forgot that Nick Aldis is like married to Mickey James. I didn't know. I forgot about that. I was like, what?
Oh man. So that's like everybody from my list that I wanted to mention. Is there anybody from is there like one other person on your list that you'd like to talk about on this episode before we end it?
Um, um,
10 years later.
10 years later.
Uh
Um, I was gonna say maybe Lethal Consequences, like maybe more so like Jay Lethal, maybe.
there's okay, why is there so much controversy going around with Jay Lethal? Like why do people not like him anymore?
Okay. Um,
Like long story short kind of thing.
okay, so long story short, I think it was to do with can't remember. I think it had to do with another oh, it was a wrestler that had was his girlfriend at the time, and I think it was like during the speaking out sort of
Oh,
thing.
that movement.
I think I could be wrong on that, but she had claimed that like he like sexually abused her and stuff or something like that,
Oh
or
damn.
like or just being super negative and not wanting her to be like booked on cards or anything too. I can't fully remember it, but I know what you're talking about though.
Damn, I never knew that. Now the thing is with me, here's my way of thinking. Um, Also, like I said before, we're going to do a episode about Chris Benoit, like one of the most controversial people on the planet when it comes to pro wrestling. In my personal opinion, now don't come at me for this. I usually just look at the wrestler for how they are in the ring, like not so much outside the ring.
Mhm.
Like I know, like what you just said about Jay Lethal. I've always liked him inside the ring. Like he was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up when he was the Black Machismo.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I liked him then. I don't really. I'm not crazy for his wrestling now. That's just my personal thing. Like that's just like not for me. I always liked
Mhm.
his Black Machismo gimmick that he had. Um, but yeah, like I try not to look too much into their background, like outside of the ring. I usually try to just appreciate them for what they do inside the ring and how they contribute to the pro wrestling business. Now there are some exceptions, like I said, I love Mick Foley, like inside and outside the ring. He is a genuine person. There's really not anything you can say that's bad about him unless you want to be a little prick. He's a badass, one of my favorite people of all time. He's a good person inside and outside the ring. Like that's
Mhm.
like one exception, but like I try not to look at the bad in people. I try to focus on what they've brought to the table when it comes to pro wrestling and how they've made an impact on pro wrestling today.
Mhm.
But yeah, Consequences Creed. So that is Jay Lethal. Wait, no, let's excuse me. Lethal Consequences. Consequences Creed and Jay Lethal. I
Yes.
didn't know Consequences Creed was Xavier Woods until like a couple years ago.
hmm
I never
I
knew that.
I think his first ever TNA appearance was at Bound for Glory in the where the main event was Angle versus Sting. I think that was his first TNA appearance.
Oh wow.
I think. Um, I I I
I
don't
can look
really
it up
know,
real quick, but
but yeah, like Consequences Creed. Oh my God, man, that guy was on fire.
he was. He
uh,
was good.
like I think like he had told a story about like he had entered a contest and was lucky enough to be trained by somebody, and like he had like hardly no money or anything, and it was just like he was like one of the like luckiest people to like ever get signed to like a full like
So
contract.
I just found the answer to your question.
Oh,
Consequences of
goody.
Greed debuted in '07 at Bound for Glory as a replacement for NFL player Adam Pac-Man Jones in the TNA
Okay.
World Tag Team Championship bout.
I thought that was right, but I just didn't want to be like,
I
oh
actually
yeah.
I actually just watched that match. I was just watching Bound for Glory '07. That's right. What? I
Yeah,
just watched
and
that match.
because like the tag title match, it was the tag title match for with Tomko and AJ. So I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was right because it was Adam Pac-Man Jones. Like he could not get physical
No.
with any of the wrestlers because if he did, he would have been, I think, suspended indefinitely from the NFL,
Oh Lord.
and like he would have like he was like he was considered a bad boy for the NFL.
Oh Lord.
So yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's gonna do it for this episode. That concludes our top 10 personal TNA pro wrestlers lists. Did any of our picks make your top 10 list? Let us know down in the comments below, and I'd like to have a little conversation about this. So feel free to let us know. Now, let's get on to announcing this Thursday's episode. As I had mentioned, this past Thursday's episode coming up is a solo episode. I will be going in alone on this,
Mm,
since unfortunately Dystro does not have very much knowledge about this topic.
no, sorry,
Hey,
no.
you get the night off. You finally get a break after what?
Get to
Five
watch
months
some
of doing this?
TNA.
5 months of doing this podcast, you get a night off. Congratulations.
Hey, when we did this the social anxiety episode, I consider that a solo episode, but I wanted you on it just because you had experience with it.
Yeah.
So,
So this Thursday, I am going to be talking about and maybe obsessing about my personal favorite American Idol contestants. As American Idol is currently celebrating their 20th year of being
that is
a show.
crazy.
This show started in 2002, which was the year I was born, obviously. But I didn't start watching the show until like season 7, which I will discuss on the episode. I'll discuss everything, all my favorite contestants, my favorite song choices that they have sung over the past few years on the show, and even on their albums. I actually have a few of the contestants' albums here. So I will be going over that with you guys this Thursday coming up on the solo episode. So yeah, if you guys are Idol fans, stay tuned for that because it's going to be a really good episode. I am actually really excited because I am super passionate about American Idol.
Yeah, because she actually told some of us in a group chat that we're all in. It's like, hey, text number 2 to, this number.
Because as we're recording this, it's the finale tonight for the season, for this season. So
And I did. I made sure I did.
vote for Noah Thompson. Well, by the time we upload this, the show's going to be over. So,
And the
anyway,
winner is.
Noah Thompson, I hope. Anyways, I think we've made this episode long enough. Thank you guys for
Almost.
sticking to the very end. If you guys did, we greatly appreciate the support. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. And I will catch you guys on the solo episode this Thursday. Peace.
Peace.